Thank you for joining. Thank you very much for joining. We have reached a milestone. Doesn't seem like much, but we got over 100 views. 100 views. So I wanted to thank everybody out there. Please pat yourself on the back. Job well done. Just the fact that you're paying a little bit of attention. Most people will only go through like 2-3 minutes of the broadcast, and that's fantastic. If you get a little bit of something out of it, you know, I don't even have the words to express how duly gratified that I am. I very, very much thank you. May God richly bless you no matter where you're at in life, and may good things and good tidings come your way. Okay, and thank you for all the people out there too, especially Julianne. I'm going to read your the chop that you put on your last message, and it really plays into things because we are seeing a lot right now go on the world stage, and it's really it's like if you know anything about the Far East with the Japanese and the kabuki dance, it's like a kabuki dance. It is so intricate that it's hard to really grasp all the things that are going on, all the machinations that are going on, and that's the whole point, because I think what we're saying right now is this diametrically opposed from two opposite polarized ends. What we're saying is, and it plays perfectly nicely into what the Lord said about a house cannot stand. A house divided cannot stand if it's divided. The world system is a house divided. And it's got this reciprocating back and forth, ad nauseum, left and right polarization that keeps going one against the other, pitted against the other. And the way that is going to work out is they're going to destroy themselves. We are seeing the implosion, not so much of the world system, but we're seeing it happen being played out on the world canvas, but it's actually a spiritually inspired theme that the good Lord nailed when he said that a house divided against itself cannot stand. This goes all the way back to when he was very familiar with the Sanhedrin, with the scribes. You know, they were the lawyers and the big think tankers and all that. And then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were diametrically opposed to each other. And it's still going on that way. It's used as a template. We are in the macro application of it as we speak. And that's what's going on right now. So what we're seeing, you know, this whole thing about Trump and, you know, all that stuff, you know, and Jeffrey Epstein and, you know, Lolita's Island and all that kind of stuff, the flights. Yeah, sure, of course it went on. Absolutely. But it did just as much as with Joe Biden when he went around sniffing little girls' hair and making weird overtures on screen. It was just, ugh. But this is the way they roll. They're all that way. So they're all of the same, you know, it's like championship wrestling. They might seem like they hate each other, but they're on the same team. Or even sumo wrestling. They're all on the same team. It's all entertainment. It's all done for circus effects. And we're seeing that right now. So this whole thing is boiling down. It's reducing itself by means of its own severity as it plays out and as it crumbles all at the same time. So that's where we're at. It's like watching the world disintegrate is what it amounts to. And it's been prophesied. Oh yeah, it's all been prophesied. Matter of fact, let's go into what Juliana says real quick that I concur with. Thank you for weighing in, Juliana. You haven't weighed in for a while, so thank you for weighing in. Very much appreciated. And let's get to it. Once we do that. Okay, here we go. So great to hear and see you're doing well. Thanks be to God. Thank you, Juliana. So much spirit, so much spiritually going on right now. Yeah, that's it. That's what we're talking about. Because these things that you're seeing being played out in the world have a spiritual motif, even though they seem like they don't. They seem like nothing but hard, you know, brass knuckles, fisticuffs, and everybody's going at it, and you see all this hatred and animosity and acrimony and all that. But it's a spiritually inspired altercation that's being projected out to the world. Because the one camp of the one polarity of the left-right polarity is saying, no, we've got the right spiritual accoutrements. And the other camp is saying, no, we do. But see, they're all fighting on the side of the house that is divided and cannot stand. Maybe they didn't get the memo. Obviously, they didn't. And Hasatan's not going to give them the memo because he's hoping. Satan is stupid. Satan is hoping that ultimate end days plan scenario is going to work out, but it's not. So how could he be, lead you to the obvious question, how can he be so stupid to think that it's going to work? That's the whole justification or ramification of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. Why? What's the point? But that's the way it is. That's the way it's been projected. That's the way it's been prophesied. So anyway, it's overwhelming at times, absolutely, Juliana. All we can do is keep preserving through it all. That's all we can do, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, because it's like Paul made mention of, that, you know, we go through these things and they're just temporary and it's just but for a season, and then we get through them, okay? It's like if I go to the doctor now, you know, that some of the questions they ask me, well, have you fallen lately? And I'm thinking, no, I haven't fallen lately. But see, when I walk into the office and I look like I do, then and I'm 68 years old, they're going to say, well, it's on my notes. I got to ask you if you've fallen lately. No, I haven't fallen lately. Sorry to disappoint. But that's the way it is. Now, let's go into something that's pivotal and sheds a lot of light on how people can keep doing and believing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. As a matter of fact, let's go over, I'll do this old school. Let's go over 1 Corinthians 15:51 to 53, and let's go there and see what that says. Because if there are actually four hallmarks of doctrine where people go wrong, radically wrong, it's their three proof text pet doctrines for the infamously applied title of 7-year pre-trib rapture dispensational cultists. This is what they go to, and we'll explain it right now. It's easy to understand, to appreciate, and also from their misapplied tactical maneuvers, you can easily discount it and show it for what it really is. Then, of course, you have the Roman Catholics. Now, the Roman Catholics, they have their Eucharist, they have their sacraments, they have their communion, and of course, they have their purgatory. Can't leave out purgatory. But the biggest threat, by and large, are not the Catholics. It's the 7-year dispensational pre-trib rapture cultists, because the program that they sell, it puts people in a snare of a belief system. It really does. It will snare you. The dopamine-laced tickling of ears is so intense that they can't extricate themselves from it by normal means. In other words, it's hard for them to get out of it and see the truth of the matter. That's what we're going to look into right now. Now, again, you have 3 or 4 pet. They claim that they're proof texts, and we're going to go into them right now. The first one is 1 Corinthians 15:51 to 53. And it says, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, this is the part they leave out, at the last trump. One more time, at the last trump. They conveniently leave that out, or if they even mention it, they'll say, oh no, it's not the last trump of the trumpets over in Revelation. Well, I don't know why it's not the last trump, but that's what my pastor said. You should go talk to my pastor. No, he's not going to listen either. If you're not going to listen, he's not going to listen either. He'll double and triple down. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead, here's another key indicative player in the scenario, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. And we shall be changed. Now, what they do is they juxtapose. They'll take this one, and they'll also take the one over in 1 Thessalonians 4:15 to 17 as their proof text. Now, they'll take the one in 1 Thessalonians to prove the pre-trib rapture. Then they'll try to justify this one in 1 Corinthians 15:51 to 53 to justify the taking out or the extraction of the church. But both of them put together paint a more harmonious picture, but it doesn't slice up one part of going to be with the Lord, because they're both synonymous. You don't just arbitrarily say that one's going to be for the picking up of the church, which is 7 years before Armageddon. Number one, because you don't have 7 years. There is no 7 years outside of Daniel's last 70th week, which Jesus Christ went into the first half of that last week of 7 years. Daniel 9, 24 to 27. We talk about this incessantly. You know, the rebuilding and the restoring of Jerusalem. There's 490 years total. 7 times 70 basically equals 490. You have the first increment of the 49, which comes out to, the 7, which comes out to 7 times 7 is 49. Then you have the second increment, which is after the 62 weeks, okay, when the Lord gets crucified. That's proof in the proof is in the text, proof is in the pudding, and all that good stuff. This is proof of when it says after the 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself and all that it talks about in Daniel 9, 24 to 27. So that 62 times 7 is 434. So you take the aforementioned 49 plus 434, you get 483, which leaves 1 week of 7 years. So the 7 years doesn't get detached from the 69th year and go flying through the air and land on Chelsea Bay Dell or Tim Henderson or Chad Thomas. We just use them as examples. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. No such animal. Don't happen that way. Number one, they've taken out Christ's ministry of the first 3.5 years of the last week of Daniel's last week. And or they attribute that to the Antichrist. Or if they get really slick and convoluted, like Hal Lindsey, it'll be at the end of the 62 weeks, but or it'll be when the 62 weeks starts. But then by the same token, it will not be at the end or have anything to do with that, because it'll be a full 7 years when the 7 years kicks off at sometime in Revelation. What? No, you got 7 years, and it plays out in conjunction, in conformity, in harmonization, in consonance with the weeks that preceded. Hell, I wish we could talk to you right now, but you're indisposed. You can't talk because you would know all this, or you should have known all this. You should have repented of all this, Hal. Matter of fact, did you get raptured, Hal? Because you said in 1980, because you figured, well, a generation is 4 years from 1948. Because you said that from 1980 to 1988 that the rapture was going to be in 1988. And then you said it would be the 7 years before would be the rapture. That's what it was. You made two miscalculations. The 7 years before 1988, which would have been 1981, that was when the pre-trib rapture was going to be. Did that happen that way, Hal? No, it didn't. No, Hal. Sorry. So then you recalibrated and said, well, you said, well, in that case, the rapture is going to be in 1988. Did the rapture happen in 1988, Hal? No. Didn't happen then either. Did the rapture happen in 2024 when you passed away, Hal? No. Didn't mean to get off on that tangent. Okay, so it talks about, beginning 1 Corinthians 50:51 to 53. Here's the main salient points. It talks about showing of a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound. Here's the other slam dunk clue. And the dead shall be raised incorruptible. And the dead shall be raised incorruptible. So where do we find that? And the dead shall be raised incorruptible. If you don't know, there is one key proof text, which is John 6, 39, 40, 44, and 54. Let's go to it real quick. John 6. John 6, here it is. 39, again, chapter 6, 39, 40, 44, 54. 39 at the end of the paragraph, but should raise it up again at the last day. 40, and I will raise him up at the last day. That's 2 times, 2 reiterations. 44, no man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last, you guessed it, day. That is the third confirmation. The fourth confirmation is in 6:54. Let's go to that. And I will raise him up at the last day. So if we go back to Corinthians 15:51 to 53, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. At the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. There we go. Now, a lot of people will come back. We know the arguments, but they're not actually arguments in the sake of arguing, like most people know arguing to be. It's more done on what you call a proactive, apologetic standpoint, a proactive, apologetic, theological standpoint, okay? It's kind of a nice way to put it. Because the sixth seal, you have the 3 main courses of sequentiality is you have the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 vials. So you have the 6th seal, the 7th trumpet, and the 7th vial. They all have one commonality. They all end in the wrath of God. Right at the end. Right before Armageddon. When Armageddon 16:16, Lord comes back 16:15. Okay, now let's go over to 1 Thessalonians, and this is going to be 5:15, 16, 17. For this we, excuse me, for this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain by the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. So this is a perfect germane lead-in and complements succinctly what was just read. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, and with the voice of the archangel, keeping in mind at the last trump, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. That we just talked about. That was in 1 Corinthians 15:51-53. It all makes perfect sense. Every bit of it. But these are the 3 go-tos. Okay. They go to 1 Corinthians 15:51-53. They go to 1 Thessalonians 4. Wait a minute. They go, 1 Thessalonians 5:15-17. And 5:17 says, then, we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord near, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. So this is perfectly keeping in line with everything else that was aforementioned. Okay? Now, let's go over, here's the silver bullet. Here's the smoking silver bullet. Okay? Revelation 12:18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come. Because again, we just got done saying the 6th seal, the 7th trumpet, and the 7th vial all have one commonality. They all end in the wrath of God. And the time of the dead, that they should be judged, because they have to, when the Lord comes, right before Armageddon. There's no 2 comings of the Lord. Okay? Or the third, the second and the third coming. He came one time. It's not going to be he's going to come 2 more times for the last time. Okay? No. One more time. The nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. And that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants and prophets and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there were seen in the temple of the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings, voices, thunderings, and an earthquake, and great hail. So, the dead in Christ, in conformance with John 6:39, 40, 44, and 54, get raised first. Then, all those who are alive and remain get raised second. Because 1 Corinthians 15:51-52, and 1 Thessalonians 4:15, you gotta forgive me, I haven't had my coffee today. Let's go through that one more time. 1 Corinthians 15:51-53, and also 1 Thessalonians 4:15-17, yeah, we had that right, I think. Yep. Is basically one passage complements the other. It gives credence to, it gives a little bit more texture. It's not to be divided up. You don't divide it up to what you 7-year pre-trib dispensational rapture cultists say is the coming back for the church before the 7-year kickoff. There's not going to be 7 years. There's not going to be 7 years. It's either 1,260 days, based on a lunar 30-day calendar, 42 months, times dividing up a time, or which one we leave out? 3.5 years. They're all the same, but there's not 7 years. The only place that you get 7 years is out of Daniel, the last week, which is not to be surreptitiously yanked out by force by John Nelson Darby / Clarence Larkin / C.I. Schofield / Hal Lindsey / Jerry Jenkins, I forget the other guy's name. You don't do it that way. You don't do it that way. It's not to be done. We'll wrap it up right now. This is the biggest thing where they go wrong. And the proof of the proof of the proof text, one more time. Revelation 12:18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. And thou shouldest give reward to thy servants and prophets, and to thy saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Just like they're doing now. You know, it's getting bad over there. It is getting so bad that they are now getting ready to censor in a very stern way or manner Benjamin Netanyahu. There was like 100 people or something, refugees waiting at a chow line. They're starving these people over there. So what does the IDF do? It goes and obliterates them, wipes them off, wipes them out. What are you doing, 6-pointed star? And you, John Hagee, you better repent. Man, when are you people gonna wake up to the atrocities, to the inhuman, barbaric measures and tactical events that you're foisting on the Palestinians is evil? When are you going to repent, John Hagee? When? I wish somebody would get him this video. You just don't get it. Go read your Babylonian Zohar, your Babylonian Kabbalah, where it has the man of sin, son of perdition, sitting in the temple where it ought not to, perfectly in conformance with your Babylonian Talmud and all your oral sages. Christians, you need to come out of that. Revelation 18:4, come out of her, my people. Be not partakers of her sins, nor receive of her plagues. The irony of ironies is that the modern day 6-point star people are the old Egypt. It's like what goes around comes around. Leave you with that thought. If you're remnant out there, get this word out there. And some of you, I'm telling you, some of you studs and studettes, okay? The old jarheads, I've been at this for many years. How about somebody else stepping up and getting this word out there that has a good grasp of the remnant message? Please, do your own website. Just start getting in front of the tube, the camera, and just speak what you know. And it's all remnant. Any race is included. That's the beauty of it. It's of one seed. It's of one seed, not of many. And the Christians are now spiritual Israel. Any and all races included for eternity. Get that message out there. I love you guys. Stay remnant. Keep rowing the boat. We'll talk soon.